Hey y'all, welcome back. So today we're talking about the National Guard ambush and all the bizarre, confusing details coming out. I don't know y'all, it's weird. Then we'll talk about how despite this heartbreaking news, the left is just choosing to protest ICE. And then we're gonna switch gears completely and talk about the Chris Briney and Sean Kaufman kiss that actually broke my brain. So grab a snack, clear your mind, buckle up, okay? Let's get into it. So I'm sure you heard the story. It was terrible news to hear right before Thanksgiving, but on November 26th, two National Guard members, Andrew Wolf, who was only 24, and Sarah Beckstrom, who was 20, they were both shot in an ambush near Washington, D.C. Sarah Beckstrom actually passed away Thanksgiving Day, and last I heard, Andrew Wolf is still in critical condition fighting for his life. So serious damage was done. Both were part of the West Virginia National Guard, and they were actually pulled into D.C. to help law enforcement under the Trump administration's crime reduction mission. They were both on patrol 2 blocks away from the White House. The suspect allegedly came around a corner, and I'll include videos or photos, whatever works. It usually depends on copyright, but he allegedly came around a corner and immediately opened fire with a revolver. Yeah, so he pulled up with a revolver, and we're gonna get into that because it's a little weird. Anyways, long story short, yes, he was subdued, arrested. Okay, law enforcement, guard members, they all came through, got him. The shooter, his name is Ramanullah Lakanwal. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. I'm probably not, but he's 29. He's actually an Afghan national that was living in Bellingham, Washington at the time of the attack. He entered the US in 2021 under Operation Allies Welcome. It's a program Biden actually introduced in 2021 in response to the US withdrawal from Afghanistan. That whole chaotic withdrawal. I'm sure you heard about that. Now, I want to pause and briefly talk about this whole program. First of all, the fact that it's named Operation Allies Welcome, that should immediately raise some eyebrows because, are you kidding me? I'm sorry, I'm supposed to believe that our government cared this deeply about Afghans that were in danger from the Taliban. They cared so much that they decided to resettle them here, right? No, this was literally in response to the US pretty much going back on their deal and abandoning translators and partners during the withdrawal. Like, these were translators that we were working with. We were like, hey, yeah, man, if you help us, all right, we got you, okay? We'll protect you because we're the USA and we're for the people. But then when it came to it, they were like, oops, JK, we actually can't. And they dipped. And yes, a ton of translators and partners were left that were definitely in danger from the Taliban. Nothing that our government does is done out of pure kindness, okay? So this program is sus. I really just think they wanted to bring in a couple people, maybe one of them being this guy, okay? Because the details around him are weird. And I just think it's wonderful that through this program, we brought in thousands of people from a country where majority support Sharia law. Yeah, our government is definitely for us. Yes, this did wonders for our country. And yes, you know, Biden and his administration claimed that they were thoroughly vetted by the FBI.
I can absolutely assure you that no one is coming into the United States of America who has not been through a thorough screening and background check process.
But was this guy thoroughly vetted? Because the math ain't mathin'. So either way, this was not the move for us as American citizens. This was not the move for our country. I'm not buying the whole we just wanted to help narrative. Anyways, back to the story, okay? Reports claim that the shooter was shouting Allah Akbar during the attack. I mean, they always are shouting that. I don't even know anymore, but to give you all the details that I found during my research, that is one of them. And this is where things start to get weird. This is when I started to feel like I was finding a bunch of puzzle pieces, but they weren't quite fitting. And that is when you know it's sus, okay? That's when you know it's weird, because you as an American citizen deserve to know every in and out about a story like this, especially a violent attack like this. It's the same old thing, okay? The math ain't mathin', nothing's making sense. First of all, according to the CIA director himself, John Ratcliffe, he was a part of an Afghan Special Forces unit that worked directly with the US. So we immediately have a CIA link. Then, like I stated earlier, this man lived in Washington at the time of the attack. So he drove all the way to DC, which is like 41 hours to what? Walk into a National Guard heavy area with one revolver to do what exactly? I'm actually asking. I don't know. Was it to injure or kill a couple guardsmen? Because, I mean, he did it. if that was the goal here. And the fact that the first reporting I saw, if I can find it, I'll include it. The fact that it said this was a lone gunman attack, immediate red flag. At this point, that's just code for the government was involved. Then, as I was looking into it, just doing a little bit of research so I could talk about it in this video. Yeah, apparently that's a hard ask because there were conflicting reports on whether he was shot or stabbed or both. Some were saying he was shot multiple times, then subdued, arrested. Some were saying that he was stabbed and shot multiple times. And then when you look at the photo, the naked photo that, burned my eyes, like why did we have to see that? But actually it came in clutch because you look at the photo, there are no visible wounds. And I'm not saying, that he didn't maybe get shot or stabbed in like the leg or the back, somewhere where it's not clearly seen in the image, but the reports are acting like there were multiple wounds despite whether it was by gun or knife. And he looks like he's chilling to me. I'm not gonna include the photo, by the way. If you're waiting for me to put up the photo, I'm not going to because absolutely not. And then something weird that actually just rolled up on my feed. I don't know, the Lord was like, here you go. But an independent journalist named James Lee, he reported that Google Trends showed his name spiking in DC before the attack. I think he stated it was the morning of, so hours before the attack and the day before. What was that man's name again? See, I can't even remember it. I'm proving my point right now. Ramanula Wall. Either way, that looks like you sat on a keyboard, okay? This is not like John Robinson, okay, or some other common name that I can't think of. For that name to pop up multiple times the morning of the attack and the day prior, you gotta be clear on the letters you are typing in. In fact, when I was doing my research, I was doing a good copy and paste, a good old copy and paste, because I could not for the life of me how to remember to spell his name. I do wanna point out and note, he was granted asylum under Trump in 2025. So he was here under a visa, thanks to Biden, it expired. And then in April of 2025, Trump's administration was like, you can stay. Look, this doesn't excuse the fact that Biden's administration obviously didn't do a good job at vetting, but it adds like a weird, strange wrinkle. All in all, we're not getting the full story here. If you're confused, that's valid because I'm still confused and I did a bunch of research to try to not be confused. And so I'm left coming to the conclusion that it was orchestrated. But I can't come up with a theory because I realize, or I'm I guess slowly realizing the more of these videos I do, there are just too many players involved. As far as the left goes, the Democrats, they were very much against this whole Trump crime reduction mission, bringing in National Guard into different cities. They were labeling it as an authoritarian playbook. We have Senator Alyssa Slotkin. She's a Democratic senator for Michigan, who, by the way, worked for the CIA. Just, putting that out there. Anyway, she was pretty much stroking fear about what she was calling, and I feel like Democrats as a whole were calling, a military invasion. She publicly stated that something like this could possibly happen. Violence between American citizens and National Guard. She said this prior to the attack.
It makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military, nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians.
Was that a warning? Was it a permission slip? At this point, we gotta ask questions, okay? Then on the right, Pam Bondi went on Fox News recently and stated, we are bringing the National Guard into every city we possibly can.
Yes, we are bringing in our National Guard to every city we possibly can.
Convenient timing if you want justification for national troop developments, right? Timing works out great. And then as a whole, we're seeing a rise in Islamic extremist rhetoric that, I believe is warranted. I feel like I've made that clear in past videos. Last week, Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan marched demanding a revolution against America. Okay, it's getting scary. Like I stated in other videos, we need to be paying attention, but I can't ignore the fact that Israel, specifically Bibi Netanyahu, desperately wants US support again. Attacks like this in the past has helped their narrative. So I don't know what we're looking at here. What I can say is that the right wants you to focus specifically on Biden and his poor vetting. Valid, but I just think it's interesting that Fox News reported on another bomb threat in Fort Worth, Texas from another Afghan refugee that came in through Biden's Operation Allies program a few days following the attack.
According to DHS, listen to this. He came to the United States as part of Operation Allies Welcome. This is a second Afghan national, second one this week, Operation Allies Welcome.
I don't know. Look, I'm not saying it doesn't matter that we shouldn't be reporting on that. That is scary. It just really feels like they want me as someone who is right-leaning to focus in on the consequences of this program Biden introduced in 2021 and the poor vetting that came with it. And then the left, they just want you to ignore it, dismiss it. They're distracting you with other things, or blame Trump, you know, because that's kind of how it goes. If you hate something in your life, blame Trump, right, Democrats? Some are actually celebrating it, which is not surprising. All in all, the left stay crazy, okay? Speaking of the left, while all this is happening, they are out there still protesting ICE. Yes, this past Saturday, there was an aggressive, huge ICE protests in New York. Crowds were chanting, "ICE out of New York," or something like that, I don't even know. They were surrounding ICE vehicles, trapping agents, disrupting actual enforcement operations. Let me just show you some clips. Let me be clear, this is fake, funded, and staged. Okay, I have to say this because I'm realizing that there are those in my generation or younger generations that believe that this is real. They believe that all these people are coming together because their heart is actually breaking over illegal immigrants, people being here illegally getting deported. No, let me just say, most of these people do not care about illegal immigrants. They do not. I have met too many unkind people. I have met too many racist people for that to be the case here. And honestly, at this point, we just need to arrest them. Arrest them all, because the reason this keeps happening is because there are no consequences. It's literally like a child. No consequences, they're just gonna keep doing it. And so if you were wondering if ICE protests are still happening, yes, they are, because people are still getting paid to do it. It's all fake. Fake and disturbing. Speaking of disturbing, this is kind of completely switching gears here, okay, but I need to talk about it. Do y'all remember the Summer I Turned Pretty storm that hit us last summer? Okay, well, the actors who plays Conrad and Steven, their names are Chris Briney and Sean Kaufman, yeah, they're besties in real life. And recently, they were spotted kissing at the New York Knicks Jumbotron. I'm not kidding, let me show you the clip.
You were the one who disappeared.
Yeah, well, as you saw, they turned the Jumbotron into a kiss cam. And yes, I know it was a theater kiss, okay? We had the thumbs, so if you're commenting that right now with your own thumbs, please stop. Girl, no, and bye. I wanna talk about this. Well, one, because I saw it against my will and it made me feel weird, but two, I looked at the comment section of a post that was discussing this, and not only was it being normalized, it was being celebrated. It was being hyped up. What is that? Why is Gen Z girl culture like this? Why are we like this? It's embarrassing. We look weird. Oh my gosh. Let me just read some of the comments here. We have a bunch of heart eyes emojis. Maybe that was a mistake. We have my dream date, cute. It's a Love Island reference if you know, you know. Their bromance is next level. Their friendship is the best thing I've seen today. And then we had some, of course, saying they didn't really kiss. It was a theater kiss. You know, we always have those people in there. Yes, we know, Caroline. Theater kiss or not, something is off. This is not a normal friendship between two guys. I feel like that's what I always need to do, is come on and explain that something isn't normal, because the weirdest things are normalized in younger generations. So let me just say, there is absolutely no reason straight men that claim to be straight, which they both do, there is no reason they should be performing this kind of intimacy. Let's acknowledge that there was no point to this, and it's weird and not normal, because I'd be the one to say it, get all the hate, call me mean, call me whatever. And this is the thing, I think I'm getting fed up because I talked about this in my last video. There's something about all these Gen Z male icons, you know, these men, actually boys, that girls my generation are obsessed over, that are so feminine. They're wearing skirts and dresses, and now they're kissing each other. And why? What is that? You don't think something's off there? Everything's just so weird. I don't even know what's going on anymore. This whole video was me just saying what? I'm confused. This is fake. This is weird. I don't know, send help. We need it. But this is where I'm gonna end the video, okay? Yes, I'm leaving you with this kiss. Thank you so much for watching if you did. Thank you if you made it this far. You're a real one. And please like this video. Please support, help a girl out, help a bestie out, because all these girls my generation, yeah, they working overtime hating on me full stop. I guess we can't have different opinions. We all need to think the same. That would be so boring. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for watching if you did. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.